touchy subject I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
And I know you've been putting out stuff on your social media.
Yeah.
So like there are all these shootings going on in the country.
Yeah.
What is the right and wrong thing? Like
as far as how to deal with an active shooter, or
if you're unfortunate enough to be, I know there's not too much you can do, but
there's some things you can do though.
What can you do?
Run, hide, fight. So run, hide, fight goes in that order. If I can run away, get away. Nike defense.
I saw one thing saying not run with the pack, trying to find a different.
So that was I made a video recently about the thing, the melee. And I still believe that. So an active shooter is a little bit different because you definitely don't want to be, yes, don't get caught up with the pack, but also don't run towards the shooter if you don't have cover, concealment, and understanding where they're going. Now, understanding the general layout of any building that you go to. So think about an active shooter situation. Most of the time, you've probably been to the building before, and so is the shooter.
Okay.
All right, so I'm in school, I'm at my place of work, I'm at the mall, I'm at like any of these places, at church. All these places are things that people have hit in the last 12 months, right? Well, do you really know the building? Do you know the way in and out? Or do you only know the main entrance? Because the mistake I believe that people make, and it was back when we had the shooting at the in Aurora, Colorado, at the movie theater.
Okay.
Most of the bodies were found in the doorway or atrium of the.
That's the only way they knew in.
They all stormed out the way they went in. But you know, there's at least two exits in every movie.
Right? Yeah.
In every movie theater, they have at least two.
Which would have been a smarter idea.
Now, granted, he had come in that door, but one of the things he could have done, you could low crawl out. People are like, well, if I had my gun, I would just engage him. No, you're not. In a dark movie theater, a guy threw a smoke bomb, there's people running around all over the place, people getting shot. What, you think you're going to take that weapon and engage a guy?
It's not a movie.
No, I know tier 1 operators that wouldn't take that shot.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Like, you're trying to get out, right? So run, hide, fight. So I run away, hide. Do I know the difference between cover and concealment?
Yeah, talk to me about that.
So cover is something that I can be behind that is going to stop or dissuade or redirect a projectile being fired at. Okay. Something hard and metal or something thick
What's some
enough.
Examples of that? Like
for instance, a car, like a car, but not the car
parts
door.
Of the car, right?
Yes, the front part of the car. So I want to be
behind the engine block.
Behind the engine block. So that's a good one, right? Something that's cover. You know, something thick stone. Thick stone planter, that's cover.
What about in a school?
The school, like you're going to be like metal desk, anything about metal pillars, anything like that, right? So understanding between cover and concealment. Concealment means it's concealing my presence, but if somebody pops around through it's going to go through. Gotcha. So that's concealment. Now,
like a door, a cupboard.
100%. I would prefer cover to concealment to nothing.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So there's that. So that's the run and the hide part. The fight part is the important part. Now I ran away, I hid, but he's still here. The devil beckons, right? He's at the door. So I'm in a room. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the lights off. I'm going to stack as much shit in front of that door as I possibly can. The reason why? He's still going to come in. Yeah, but he's going to have to orientate, especially if he comes from a well-lit place into a dark place. What happens to your
fighting
eyes?
me, making it harder for him to do what he's doing.
And then I'm going to try and grab anything that I can use as a weapon.
Anything I can use as a weapon.
It could be it could be a stapler. It could be a magazine that I can roll up and use a stick.
Are people being taught this?
I teach it.
General people being taught this?
I don't think so. Not well enough.
Why not? Because everything he's saying it's so simple, but it makes so much sense.
Well, so we live in a litigious society, and Americans like absolutes. Americans like, if I do this, and I do this, I'm going to survive. What we all need to be honest with them is that doesn't guarantee your survival. It's just trying to improve your chances for survival.
Okay.
Right? So that's the first thing. People are afraid to get sued. The second thing is that they're not asking the right people. They're asking lawyers to come up with ways that we can train the safest way possible while limiting our liability, instead of finding people who know exactly what they're talking about, training these people, right?
Gotcha.
So like Clark County School District is woefully unprepared for active shooter events. Outside of locking the door, lock down the campus and lock the door and put the kids in the back corner somewhere. That is not going to stop someone who wants to get in and do damage. Especially, now again, for younger kids, smaller kids, so they're softer targets. That's why at that last shooting that we had in Texas, Uvalde, why do you think he went to that school? He's going to see the least amount of resistance there. That's why he chose the softest of soft targets as younger kids. Now, older kids, middle school kids, high school kids, they're in the fight. Like, that's the reality. Like, we teach our kids, stack up on the door, we're going to high low. You tackle him low, we'll drive the weapon high. We're going to drive the weapon, keep the weapon pointed up, get him on the ground. We're going to take the weapon from him, and you're going to smash his skull. You're not going to hit it. You're going to hit him until he stops moving. You're going to hit it, and if one of you knows how to fire the weapon, put 2 runners in his chest and 1 in his face. Kill him. And they're like, they're not there to subdue him. You don't know if he has an improvised explosive device. You don't know if there's another shooter with him. You don't know what his intent was, other than the fact that he's there to do one thing: kill you. So you must do to him before he does to you.
It's literally a Wallace situation.
It's like this is what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's an unpleasant thing. I've taught active shooter survival to Fortune 500 companies, school districts around the country.
Okay.
I've done these things before. I taught at the FDA, an active shooter scenario at FDA, at AT&T. I've taught these things, and this is some of the basic things that I talk about.